Water company bosses could face up to 2 years in prison and be banned from taking bonuses under the government's proposals to crack down on filthy rivers and seas. That's our shared waterways.
Yeah, the tougher laws are absolute music to the ears of Steve Backshall, who earlier this year said his own water testing showed pollution levels in the Thames are toxic. And as you can see, Steve joins us now. Now, you love being on the river. Your whole family does, including your wife loves being on the water, but we'll come to that in a moment. And you've lived next to a river for a long time, haven't you?
Yeah, that's right. And I think that, you know, like many people, I first assumed that the problem we had with sewage in the waterways was something as simple as, you know, getting nasty, smelly floaters kind of occasionally end up in the waterways. And that's why I started doing my testing.
So you lived on a houseboat?
Lived on a houseboat.
And you noticed changes, did you?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, there have always been outages on the river in extreme situations, but they've increased in intensity. And also you can see the effects, particularly on the surrounding habitat and on the surrounding wildlife.
OK.
And when I started testing, originally with Bangor University's wastewater department, and now using this device here, what became evident was it is not just the smell and the inconvenience of it. There are pathogens entering our waterways at extraordinary levels and levels that nobody really knew about or understood.
What sort of pathogens are we talking about?
So my original testing, we were finding things like enterovirus, E. coli, norovirus at tens of thousands of times the levels of what they should be in our waterways.
So you've gone back, you've carried on testing because you're so passionately worried about this. Give us an idea. You've got a bit of kit there and you're going to show us your latest reading. But
yes.
What should normal levels be, or OK levels?
I mean, ideally, for it to be water that would be safe, for example, for our dogs to be running in and drinking from, you would want levels of about 900 units per litre. I tested yesterday on this Floridian, which is a WHO device, and E. coli levels were at 12,000.
12,000?
I didn't know that. Just to be clear, I think our viewers need to know that neither of us knew what you're about to say there.
12,000?
So 900 is safe just for your dog to swim in it?
Yes, yeah, exactly.
Right, I was in Switzerland in the summer for a few days. People were swimming in it. 9,000. What does that mean in real time? 12,000. What does that mean in real time? What's actually in that water? And by the way, what water company is it that we're talking about?
This is Thames Water we're talking about. And, I mean, effectively, you could get very sick, dangerously sick, from immersion in consuming...
So not just, we're not talking about drinking, we're not talking about accidental. And I grew up swimming in the River Thames, so that could explain a lot of problems, but that was a long time ago when I used to swim in it. But we're not just talking about drinking it, which obviously you would advise kids not to do. We're talking about just being in the water. How dangerous is that?
I should say that this is not for the entirety of the Thames. There are good sections of the Thames where the water is reasonably clear, and at times of the year that it can be fine. But on my stretch, which is downstream of a sewage outflow, it has for most of this year been unacceptable, and after outages, it has been dangerous.
Gosh.
And I think the biggest problem has been the total lack of ability to do anything about it. And I am given great heart by Steve Reeves, the Environment Secretary's speech yesterday, which is talking about a complete reset of how we deal with the water sector in this country, how we give Ofwat, the regulator, proper teeth to deal with the situation.
Well, one of the suggestions... Please do that.
No, sorry, Rob. Only because we just want to give Thames Water a chance to comment before we go on any more. So we have a statement from them. They said, we have clear and deliverable plans to upgrade 250 of our sites across the region, adding we've put transparency at the heart of what we do, and we were the first water company to publish a real-time data map on our website, which in its first year has been viewed more than 350,000 times. Does that give you any comfort? What do you make of that?
No, not at all. I mean, I think that I am given great comfort, though, by the plans that are being put in place in this new water bill. So there's a statement that we are going to try and create 9 new reservoirs, about 8,000 kilometres of new pipes, that these outage points are going to have real-time monitors on them. So it's not going to be people like me doing the monitoring. It is going to be the water companies themselves. And I think that's absolutely critical. And while I think the headlines will be grabbed by the possible jail time for CEOs who, you know, give themselves big bonuses, but then don't deliver.
Well, let's just talk about that for a second. The reason I, you know, got overexcited there with Kate is, like you and millions of others, I really care about this issue, as we all do. There's one issue, you know, in a nation that's divided, right, on a number of things that we can all agree on. These are our shared waterways. You know, people should sort of understand what we're talking about. Over 400,000 more toxic leaks, right, into our shared waterways. Just to be clear, Thames Water, the chief executive, Chris Weston, took a £195,000 bonus in 22-23, with his total annual pay, brace yourself, £437,000. Just to give you a comparable, the Prime Minister makes £159,000. Now, you're talking, or rather saying, prison might be just a headline, but isn't it about time that there was real sanction for the heads of these companies and real sanction for the people that pollute our waterways, where the buck stops with them?
I hope so, and I think that it's really encouraging to see Steve Reid standing up and addressing all the things that campaigners across this issue have been saying for the last few years. You know, talking about those things that make you really angry. You know, when you see huge amounts of sewage heading into our rivers and then the person responsible for it effectively taking a massive bonus, it makes you furious. And there is an actual line in this bill that is saying it will not be possible for those CEOs to take bonuses at all if they are responsible for big damage. And if they're responsible for it and they try and cover up any efforts to cover it, then they could well face 2 years in jail.
I mentioned earlier on how passionate you are about the waterways. Your wife, Helen, you must have been so thrilled when she got silver at the Olympics. Were you there? Did you witness it? How did you feel?
I was there on the finish line with our 3 kids, all screaming and screaming as they came in at the end. It was an incredibly close race. It just millimetres between the top 2 boats as they came into the line. It was a phenomenal experience, and you know, to be able to share that with the youngsters as a family is something we will never forget.
Yeah. Oh, how wonderful.
We were all screaming at the telly. You know, I know Heather Stanning, her ex-partner for some time. Rowing partner. And
you haven't just uncovered a scandal.
That's true. Look, you know, just coming back to this, because I think, as I say, this issue matters to absolutely everybody. You know, what's your message to people out there that want to get involved, right? And the one thing that they can share is the fact that we should be able to swim in our safe waterways. How can they get involved?
Absolutely. Well, we have a march for our waterways at the end of October, which I'd encourage anyone to get involved in, to come along. If anyone wants to speak to an organisation that's doing an awful lot to try and combat this and to use citizen science as a way of tracking what's happening in our waterways, then look up River Action UK. They're doing incredible work. And I think just try and track and follow the progress of what's happening on your own patch. It's all about our own catchment, our own area, because there are plenty of places in the UK where it is safe to enjoy our waterways, and they should be something that is a national treasure that we all, you know, value enormously.
So you call it national treasure. I say it's frankly a human right to be able to swim in safe water. If they do it in other countries, they can do it here, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. And, you know, our nature, our wildlife completely relies on clean waterways as well.
We're an island nation. We love our waterways and we want to feel confident about them. Thank you very much indeed.
And thanks for everything you're doing as well.